Excuse me.
Okay, you're live.
I make a motion, we open the meeting of October 19th, 2022 of the Council of Aging Board.
At 9:38.
Okay, yep.
Attending, one missing.
I second it.
Okay.
Everybody's in attendance except for Dot. We need approval of the previous minutes. Everybody have any comments about the minutes?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes of the last meeting.
Anybody second it?
I'll second.
And unanimous?
A roll call vote.
Vote.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Oh, that's right, it's,
Treasurer's report. We have that, and everybody can look it over. If you have any questions, maybe Lynn could answer them. Dot's not here to answer them, but.
I have two comments on the treasurer's report. So Dot and I were in agreement with items as listed. Then we received the summary from our town accountant, and we differed from hers. And so the difference was additional salary paid on the director line item for the last August payroll, which involved an item that, we didn't have a copy of. So we're square on that. We differed on expenses against the accountants, and that turned out to be a T-Mobile bill that wasn't paid at the end of fiscal year 2022, but was paid in this current fiscal year. So it was essentially a catch-up. So that's not included in our expenses, but it should be. So we're square with that. We're not able to reconcile revolving at this time because all the deposits haven't been verified. Any deposits that we make to the revolving account, and that happens year after year. We have to wait until the accountant has an opportunity to reconcile those bank statements. Then ours are squared away. So there's that. Formula grant is on tap, all's well there. Expenses, again, as I mentioned at the prior meeting, we're going to be short. So some expenses currently I've put through our revolving account because there will be insufficient funds to cover through the end of the year. I haven't had a chance to talk with Rebecca about how we resolve this going forward for this fiscal year in terms of that overage that I had mentioned. When that expense line item was reduced at the start of this fiscal year, when it was approved at town meeting, I think folks just didn't realize that was going to be so short. So we will get that in conversation with Rebecca, our town administrator, to get that resolved.
Great. Anybody have any questions?
I do have a question. Under expenses, bills payable, it says the percentage left is 103.2%. How can it be over 100%?
Because we received insufficient
Oh, okay.
funds. So if we had utilized the full 3,000,
Yes.
then we would be at 100%. But because, as
Oh.
you see, we're going to be going over,
Okay.
that's the
Got it.
situation.
Thank you so much.
Van maintenance, that that may be a situation as well. That line item, given that we have a new van, it was reduced by FinCom, et cetera, so that $1,500 may not be sufficient either for the rest of the year, but that's to be determined.
Already gone through 52.
Good question, Mrs. Thomas.
Thank you.
It's like the math does not work out.
Somebody want to make a motion to approve the budget?
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report as corrected, as amended.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous? Okay, director's report. Lynn?
Hi, so, I wanted to let you know the situation with regard to our pantry and the appliances that were purchased earlier but had to be returned to Amazon due to damage. As I'd mentioned before, it looks like they were essentially pushed off the truck. So I just received on Friday the final credit for the commercial refrigerator.
Oh, good.
And we had earlier received the credit for the freezer. Those are now going to be reordered. We're going to take another look at the options available to purchase so that we can have this pantry with non-perishables and perishables available to folks before the holidays happen. I mean, that's pretty important. We often receive requests, do we want some donations of frozen turkeys and things of that nature? So we'll be able to say yes this year, which is a huge boon. I also attached for your review a lovely letter that was received by the office from our neighbor's table, commending us on the terrific job that the Council on Aging has done with our food pantry and helping folks with food insecurity. I think kudos especially go out to Amanda Fisher, our prior director, who was instrumental in pumping up that pantry of ours, along with Nisha Burke and Maria Jagual. This letter was lovely, so the Council on Aging is going to be honored next Tuesday by a special breakfast with the folks at our neighbors' table and other communities who have also been commended for their efforts to help folks with food insecurity. So both Nisha and Maria will be attending that breakfast, so that was really good to hear. UTEC boxes and traveling chef continue unchanged. Again, as I mentioned before, the van and staff deliver about 40 special lunches once a month that are delivered to folks, and it's very well received. With regard to elders, we're in the throes of beginning preparations for fuel assistance, both through the Groveland Congregational Church, who've been longtime supporters of the council with regard to assisting with fuel assistance each year. They have historically donated approximately $6,000 to the Council on Aging. We do it through the Congregational Church, and that involves the ability to send out fuel assistance to those who are particularly in need. And that need changes each year, but we'll no doubt be working with them going forward. They have been always amazing supporters of this department. Interim director business, so that would be me as a trustee interim director. I have been, contrary to our agreement, going over hours. So instead of doing like, say, 15, it's, over the past couple of weeks, it's taken me more like 20 a week to get things accomplished. But I think the lion's share of that extra work, again, not doing the full director's position, you know, that needs to be clear. I'm just sort of basically managing the smaller parts. For instance, the newsletter, that's sort of a big task in terms of consumption of time. And it's new for me, the way that it's set up. So that's taken a little more time than anticipated. I will be going forward, squaring away the department's area on the town's website. So that will be updated. I was able to upload the September, October newsletter. We will do the same with November and December, so that will be available online for people to view. But the other data in that website is pretty outdated. So that will take a little time, as I wasn't initially trained on this because I wasn't here. I'll be going through a little review process on my own. It'll be like remedial website 101 to square away the items on that website that need to be updated. And once that's done, I think my time here will go back to a more diminished amount. The van, so we.
Just a second. You said you want board's assistance with events.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, as I'm not here in the usual full director capacity, any assistance that the board is able to give with regard to, programs and events in terms of assisting Nisha in that effort would be really terrific. It would be a big help. Thanks. She'd kill me for not remembering to mention that. But we're still shorthanded in terms of, no director. So, and my tasks are not so much programs and events as more administrative. So any help anyone can give with that would be terrific. Likewise, with regard to the newsletter collating, we are going to mail it out this month. It's already off to to senior publishing. I sent that out last week, the end of last week, or Saturday, I forget which. So the newsletter will be mailed. The November and December newsletter will be in folks' mailboxes. So when we do that, we're talking about 1,400 copies. So now that senior publishing does the inserts and the basic folding and stapling, what we're going to do this year, because the newsletter going out falls during voting. So early voting is going to be happening. So what we're going to do, as we did during COVID periodically, is farm out the newsletters to folks who've done it in the past, who've been on the newsletter list. We send them a box of newsletters with labels to attach and tape and so on to square that away. Then we have the van bring it back to them back to the office after, X amount of time. And then we load the mailing trays and do the paperwork to schlep them to the post office in Haverhill. I did, in that account, add additional dollars to our bulk mail account with the U.S. Postal Service. And again, this comes out of the formula grant, the newsletter process. So that will be happening. That already happened, actually. The extra dollars in the bulk mail account already occurred. So we will have sufficient money with the Postal Service. So there's a formula grant, and then the bulk mail account is separate with the U.S. Post Office. Once we request a withdrawal from the formula grant, a check is written by the town, and then we bring it to the post office, deposit that money in, they call it a trust, so we put that in that account, and then going forward, when we complete the one-sheet paperwork for the newsletter, they deduct that particular mailing from the little balance in that account. So I put sufficient money in there to cover the November, December mailing and the January, February mailing, because I don't know if I'll be here, but at least that amount of money will be set aside and good to go, however it gets accomplished. So there's that. I covered that. We covered the budget. In terms of discrepancies, Capital Improvement Committee via our town administrators requested any items needed to go before them, and that has to be submitted by the end of October. So I don't think we need anything of a capital way. And then we just have to sort of give an update on the items that we already have that fall under the capital improvement plan, and that would be our van. So on that happy note, let's move on to that. So, as I mentioned last time, the check engine light came on in the van. We brought it to Dave Martin, Auto Maintenance. He looked it over, talked to the folks at Commonwealth Motors because they're the dealership that he's worked with, and said, you know, you needed to bring it there. I'm able to do X, but, you know, and give it a look-see, but, you know, it's under service warranty, so, you know, bring it to the dealership and have that covered. So we brought it there. Commonwealth Motors replaced the sensor. There was a bum sensor issue. That's technical talk. And also did an oil change for us. We also had a question about the air conditioning, that wasn't working properly. And of course, when you bring it there, they're like, we didn't have a problem with that. So, thanks. So then when it was returned, there was a problem with it idling in a strange fashion, irregular, if you will. And again, the AC was not working properly. So it might work for like 15 minutes and then not. So we called Commonwealth again because they were the folks who did the prior service and brought it back, made another appointment. You know, that's another day downtime where the van's not available for folks. Excuse me. And so they looked at it again. They essentially didn't do anything, saying, A, we're not noticing an idle problem, and if you have any problem with the AC, it needs to go to the folks who did the conversion from a regular van to our accessible van with other bells and whistles, not normally on a Chevy van. So we've been in contact with the folks we purchased the van from, which unfortunately was out of New York. So we're hoping that they're going to be able to give us a local conversion service location so that we can have that checked into. In terms of, you know, the drivability, it's been fine, but the idling is off. So, you know, that's not what you want. And not being one to pass a fault, I'd like to get that squared away now. So we're going to try to do that.
Why do they think the idling has to do with the conversion?
I'm not sure. We thought it must somehow have to
Be the
do with the
motor.
replacement of the sensor. But it didn't happen when we brought it back that second time. So that was unfortunate. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
Oh, it was doing
Yeah.
it for me.
Yeah.
But in any case, it's also, November is van inspection time, vehicle inspection. So we brought that to our usual place in, I don't know if they're on the Methuen or Lawrence side, but anyway, it's Cody's, C-O-A-D-Y. They have taken care of our oversized van for several years. The local garages, for instance, Dave Martin's facility doesn't do such large equipment in terms of inspection. Someone was contacted, or contacted Fadi, who does, I think it's Groveland. I don't know what the name of the company is, but anyway, he doesn't do anything over 10,000 pounds. So we went back to Cody's, where we have gone traditionally to get it inspected. And it passed with flying colors. So we're safe going forward. But we do want to have, even though it's past season, we do want to have that AC looked at and, you know, the irregularity of the idling. So there is that. And then at the very bottom, I just want to let you know about programs and events going forward in November and December. We have the annual holiday luncheon happening on December 22nd. Folks will be able to call in and make reservations for that. And again, all of this will be uploaded to the town's website for people to access. So that's it for me. If any Any thoughts or concerns or questions?
You talked about,
Cultural Council?
no,
I did submit that grant actually on Saturday, just FYI.
Cultural Council?
So each year, the Cultural Council, the Groveland Cultural Council, under the auspices of Mass Cultural Council, offers grant money to various entities to provide programming of a cultural nature that would benefit the community. For instance, the Bagnell Elementary School, Pentucket High School, the library, folks at VC Park often submit a grant requesting funding for a program that would be different and beneficial to folks. So each year, that's usually due October 15th. This year, it was October 17th, and apparently they gave it a couple extra day deadline. But anyway, I submitted ours. So this would be a lovely operatic, if you will, performer who will do COA Senior Day in May. And as a general rule, our grants are approved. As you know, we're not a school where we would be asking for quite a bit more money. So that was submitted, so we're good with that. Oh, and the Executive Office of Elder Affairs Annual Report, still haven't received that yet.
Seriously?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's all like delays due to the past few years with COVID or a shortage of staff, or, in any event, I contacted the program coordinator for COAs at the state, at the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, right around when we met, actually, last time, our last board meeting, and he said, oh, that should be coming to you in 2 or 3 weeks. So, coming attractions. We have all the data available through our software program that tracks services and rides and, you know, all of that sort of thing. So it won't be difficult to gather that information because it is all there in that software program, which is, you know, part of the reason why we have it. It allows you to look at what you do and what areas you do the most and what areas could use perhaps some tweaking or, you know, additional resources type of thing. So we still haven't received that, but once we do, I'll be on that like Jack the Bear.
It would be good if that did come through so that you had data to know how to prepare a budget
Right.
for the next year.
For the next, so, that said, coming attractions.
I do have a couple of questions.
I'm ready.
Okay. You mentioned capital improvements,
Mm-hmm.
and so is there anything in moving into your new spaces in the town hall? Are there any purchases that you need for the new spaces to make them
No, more
effective
efficient and
workspaces?
so on.
Yeah.
No, because, you know, capital improvement requests a higher dollar amount.
Okay.
So it's not, you know, it's not just a laptop or, you know, something like that. It's bigger ticket items.
Okay.
So we're kind of, I forget to be honest with you, I forget what the threshold is to qualify for a capital improvement, but
Okay.
we don't really need anything that falls in that category.
And last month, you mentioned the touch screens coming through. Has that happened?
So we do have the new PCs for that, and a scanner, and the item for, you know, photographing folks, to square that away. I think the only thing missing, I think, are the key cards. And I don't think those have been ordered.
Okay.
But that will be a coming attraction, I would assume. We did receive lovely funds, well, not actually the funds, but the items that were requested. Our trustee assistant director requested items for our office. One was a high top stool to use at the counter for the new scanning equipment through My Senior Center. They also provided a magnetic bulletin board, if you will, for her area, her desk area, as well as two folding tables, one to be used in our office and the other one that will be used in the pantry to sort of load up groceries and square away packaging for food deliveries.
Excellent.
So that was very kind of them. Thank you, friends.
So, when you say that the budget is due at the end of October, it makes me wonder, how does?
Oh, I didn't say that our budget was
Oh.
due.
Oh,
What'll happen, they have, so FinCom has, I think, begun to, I think they meet, they may even have met this week, but in any event, they are beginning the process. They meet tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
So FinCom will be meeting tonight to go over schedules probably going forward, which departments they want to see first, in discussions with our town administrator to find out, who needs to come when.
so how do we accomplish having a budget for next fiscal year that will
Accommodate,
accommodate
Improvements?
surprises with the van, improvements, just to make sure we're all set with every line item?
so so it's, you'll pardon the expression, it's kind of a crapshoot.
Okay,
We will receive information from our town administrator with regard to, for instance, percentage cost of living increase. Usually, in years past, you're asked to flatline. And then changes are made from there. In some departments, as with ours, there's a definite need for an increase in certain areas. And so I think that will be the case this year as well as last year. And so whoever the director is, or if I'm still pinch hitting, will be a matter of, this is what we would like to put forward, both as a board and as the interim director. Here's what we're seeking going forward. Ditto the expense line item, and ditto the van line item, the van maintenance line item. Here's what we suggest and what we may need going forward, given what we know historically have been costs associated with both the van or the need for improvement in salary lines. For instance, after our town administrator requested everyone take a look at job descriptions, the folks, individual folks were interviewed by staff at the Collins Center who do these studies for municipalities across the Commonwealth. So that was done, and once that is done, I think we were told that at some point in November, their recommendations will be submitted to our town administrator, and they can go from there. There will be salary suggestions and confirmed job descriptions, I'm assuming.
thank you.
But I think that will be important. Now, the burning question is, will those, like many things, will those recommendations be supported?
As they should be.
Mrs. Pahalski?
A quick question. So you're saying about the newsletter that it's going to be mailed from now on. So we would have to,
She said hopefully.
she said hopefully. I don't know if they can hear, but anyway. So wouldn't that line item have to be increased? Because I think we took it away because it was going to be all online and, like the last one just, or not, is that still in that?
No,
budget?
so how the newsletter has been traditionally funded is through the formula grant.
Ah, that's
So
right.
both the printing, the need for postage, all of that, as well as partial outreach hours, are funded through our formula grant. So once after I left, much of the newsletter cost, apart from the mailing, went to Senior Publishing in Hampton, New Hampshire. So they covered the cost of the printing. In the grand scheme of things, the printing was actually not a big ticket item in terms of our budget. But the newsletter is funded through the formula grant. No part of town funds are expended for that newsletter. That is all through a grant partially funded by the Executive Office of Elder Affairs. That's how it's received. And again, as formula grants go, X amount of dollars is allocated by the state against our elder population count to come up with a dollar amount to each city and town. Ours, like all of the Commonwealth cities and towns, is based on a 2010 census. It hasn't, the 2020 census that everybody went through hasn't been put forward yet. I understand it will be in 2023. So when that happens, folks, individual cities and towns, population, the demographics that we care for, will go up. As all of us boomers reach that golden age.
It's true.
Any more questions for Lynn?
Just thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes.
You're welcome, you're welcome. It's a great department. Council on Aging is a great department. In order to do this work, you have to be sort of caring, kind people. And so we sort of focus on that. That's who stays. So, yay.
Yes.
Yay for the Council on Aging. And on that note, then, I will leave you to the rest of your meeting so that I can go finish bills payable. And if I may ask our chairperson if she would come and sign off on that as well. When your meeting is finished, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Okay, old business. Anybody have any old business? Or do we want to move on to new business?
Just a second.
New business, progress to hire the new COA director. Maybe we can have Larry update us on what happened with the search committee?
Sure. We had a meeting with Rebecca, the town administrator, and we went over some resumes. Did not find a candidate that fit well enough at this point, so we are continuing the search for the new director. And one of the things that came through clearly from the town administrator is the primary responsibility of the director as a administrative position rather than an outreach person. So with that focus on the candidates, we are still looking. We have not set a new meeting date yet.
No.
And we have not, to my knowledge, gotten any additional applications.
know
So
of.
those of you who are out there who might have an interest in the proper credentials, I invite you to go to the town website, look up the job description, and give us a call. Drop us a resume.
Anybody have any questions? No?
It's sad.
No, I'm just feeling very grateful that we have Lynn, who is so knowledgeable in what should be done and what needs to be done and by when, so that the COA can continue functioning effectively for seniors in Groveland, even with the absence of a more permanent director.
Maybe we should ask her to apply for the position.
She's retired. I do have a question. So
Sure.
the Collins Center has sent, well, I don't know if the town has received it or not yet. I'm kind of unclear about that. But they're going to be working or suggesting job descriptions. So we have a job description that you're interviewing for. What if the Collins Center's suggestions are totally different from what?
It won't be totally different.
Or the finances, you know, how much to pay this person, whatever.
Well,
Because that's something, you know,
yep,
yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the application online, I don't know what we're offering, or, you know, if it's just a broad range, but,
no, there's a salary on there, but
okay, I just haven't looked on it, 'cause I can't apply, so.
I don't know for sure, but I would think, just because the Collins Center says something for a salary, doesn't mean we have it in the budget.
Oh, I understand that,
You know?
yes, but I mean, what about the job descriptions or the, you know,
Yeah, I would think we would try to compare them and see if there's any discrepancies, and certainly take their advice if there's something that they feel that should be in there that we don't have in there, or vice versa. The job description, I thought looked pretty good. What about you, Larry? The one that we had?
Because I'm new to the board and new to the Council on Aging, you know, it looks fine to me, but what do I know? So, it'll be interesting to see how we fare, compared to the Collins. And I assume that they tailor it to a town our size, but maybe not. Maybe it's more generic and we have to scale it to, what Groveland needs and what our past is.
I'm just wondering, because I know, you know, well, we paid a lot of money for this report to come through for the Collins Center, and I just don't know if, when it does come through, it's like, these are the guidelines that we have to do, or you throw yours away and we have to use these, or, you know, I don't know.
We don't know either.
They had this report, like I said, the town paid a lot of money to have it done. I just am assuming that would mean we would, you know, need to not abide by it, but,
Well, like
yeah,
I said, I think we'd
incorporate those.
compare
right.
the one we
And
have,
see
the
if
one
there's
they
any
give
tweaking.
us for that, and see what
Right.
the differences are.
Okay.
I haven't seen one
Well,
from the
I don't
Collins
know if
Center.
it's back, I'm confused if it's come back or they're still waiting for it.
We haven't seen it yet.
We haven't seen it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Question. I'm new on the board, too. What is, who are the Collins Center? What is it?
I don't know for sure, but it's my impression it's a private company
Yes.
that analyzes personnel information like that. I think they help with hiring. And I know the town hired them to evaluate all the positions in town as far as duties and salary, but I'm no expert on it. I don't, that's as much as I know about it.
Right. Thank you.
Anybody know any more about it?
I
That's-
just
you
know they're a consulting firm.
Yeah, consulting firm.
Right.
Yeah.
But now I
Used them
wonder,
before.
oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
But now I wonder, knowing that the director and assistant director and were both interviewed before the Collins Center wrote up their job descriptions and then sent those drafts to the director and assistant director to review and approve. Now I'm wondering if we should have copies of the sort of confirmed or approved job descriptions once they are finalized.
I assume we'll get copies. Because
Right.
we're hiring a director, we would want a copy of the
So when,
approved job description.
so maybe we should check to find out if in fact those finalized job descriptions or position descriptions have come through.
We can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're applying for a position,
Yeah.
and, you know, this is what you're handed, these are your responsibilities, and then, oh, we're hiring you, and then, but now the Collins Center said this is what, or the ones that have been sent in as the collaboration between the Collins Center and our people, or, you know, our
Yep.
town already, it might be very different. I'm not sure. I can't imagine that it would be, but I mean, I would be a little upset if I were hired and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we changed everything. This is what you need to do now.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
We'll
so
definitely-
I'm just saying this for the interviewing board, you know, that maybe they have come back, and I'm unsure what the town is doing with it. In other words, abiding by it completely, or just tweaking things, or saying, well, thank you very much, I guess we're
I'm not sure
okay.
what the town's doing with
Yeah.
them,
Well,
but we'll certainly ask.
Yeah, okay.
I believe that we are an autonomous board in terms of hiring, so I think it's within our rights to tailor
Well, we don't hire.
the final
them,
job description
Right.
based on the input that we have.
But we're not doing the hiring. We're doing the recommendation, and then the Board of Selectmen do the hiring.
I've been told that we do the hiring. I'm not sure, but
Board of Selectmen have to approve it.
We
And
give them
appoint-
the
and appoint them.
recommendation of the
Yeah, they have to
person.
appoint them based on our recommendation, I believe.
Right. You don't have a Board of Selectmen on the interview, a person from the board on your, or is it, you have Rebecca? Okay, yeah. Because in the past, we had members of the board and one or two selectmen. The last time when we, you know.
Yeah, we
yeah.
did. But I think that's because,
We
well,
didn't
now
have.
we have a town administrator, so
Administrator,
she's
right.
in charge of personnel.
Right, right. Okay,
So we've been consulting with her,
her, right,
yeah. Because we don't know all the rules either,
right.
you know? Any other questions, comments, in regards to anything?
Well, there was one more item under new business.
Go ahead.
So the assistant director did mention to me that she was wondering if she should have something in writing that guaranteed when the Mass DOT grant came through in January, she had been promised verbally, and I remember that happening at a selectmen's meeting. It had been stated that she would be getting her compensation due to her, that's based on that DOT grant retroactively, and she was questioning whether or not she should have written confirmation that that in fact will happen.
I don't know anything about that. Does anybody else? And I would think she could consult with the interim director. She would know, possibly.
Was she asking the board for that? Or was she asking just in general, Irene?
She was feeling a little uneasy that she had not received a written confirmation that she would receive that extra, that part of her compensation retroactively,
Mhm.
and was just wondering if there should have been written confirmation given to her.
Would Rebecca be the person to ask?
I think she has to go through her director first, yeah, even though it's interim director, but chain of command would be go to your boss first.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense to me.
Okay, anything else? Comments? Any new business other than what we discussed? Larry, anything?
No, just to buy your lottery tickets for the Friends of the Council on Aging raffle. Anybody listening at home?
Yep, I got mine.
Me too.
I got mine.
Anybody else? Marie,
No, we-
any comments?
I don't have anything else right now.
Okay,
So if someone watches this meeting and they do want to get lottery tickets, they're available through the newsletters?
I think they're raffle tickets.
Raffle tickets.
right?
Raffle,
Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry, raffle
sorry.
tickets. They're available through the newsletter, and there are
In the office.
printed ones in the COA office.
Anything else? Next meeting, November 16th. We'll try for the same room. Hopefully, we'll get this room, 9:30, November 16th. And we'll, meeting adjourned at 10:25. Do we need to make a motion, or
I make a motion that we adjourn.
someone second? Unanimous vote?
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.